So today, I'm deciding if itatapo ko na ba itong mga IDs na to na punong-puno ng memories for me kasi I'm the sentimental type. Are you the sentimental type? Yung mga tipo po na itinatago nyo pa yung mga perfume bottles o yung mga cologne kasi merong scent na favorite kayo o kaya po yun pong mga ribbons galing sa mga regalo or gift wrapper, tinatago nyo po ba yun? O kaya po yun pong candy or chocolate na galing po kay crush, itinabi nyo yun ano? Eh yung mga mommy po dyan, na itinatabi pa po yung mga damit ni baby kahit na ilang taon na po siya ngayon, 16, 17, 20 o kaya 25, parang ako, mommy, mommy. Or maybe po, the exact opposite na mandali namang mag-let go or yung mga tinatawag po nilang the minimalist type. So today, yan pong i-discuss natin here on UJ Radio. We'll be talking about decluttering. Join the conversation and let's start now.
I'm usually really busy, so I don't clean it that often. Probably once or twice a year.
Halos every after 3 months.
Lagi ako nag-aayos ng closet ko kasi nakaayos yung mga damit ko by colors.
I attend to my closet every once or twice a week po.
Sinisikap ko po na every week talagang nakakapaglinis ako ng closet.
I always decide for 3 things. Ano ang pwede ko pang magamit ulit? Ano pa yung magagamit ko in the future? Ano na yung mga ayoko nang gamitin?
I assess whether if this particular object is relevant to what I need and to what I currently do, or does it just adds up to the pile of things that I will never get to use again.
I mean, I just look at my clothes and it's like, if I haven't worn it in forever, I'm like, okay, I don't need this anymore. In a different pile. Either I sell it off, I give it away.
Kinikip ko ang mga clothes ko na lagi kong ginagamit sa araw-araw, sa pang-work, pang-alis, pang-first duties. Pero, hindi din ako nagdi-dispose kaagad.
Una po, tinitingnan ko kung ginagamit ko pa ba siya or magagamit ko pa ba siya in the future. Yung halaga ba na pinangbayad ko is sulit na is minsan po nililet go ko na po talaga siya.
In terms of social media, let's say I find someone or some people that I follow who don't share the same mindset as I do. Their beliefs are not what I share. I just completely remove them, like block, unfollow, mute.
For example, sa social media, very toxic po talaga dyan kung di mo pipiliin yung friends to accept or sa mga pages to follow and like po natin. I prefer to look on good things. Kagaya nga po ng mga sinishare po ng ating po mga social media sites po ng Iglesia ni Cristo.
Bilang pagtugon po sa patuloy na paalala sa maayos po na paggamit ng ating social media accounts, and sa panatili po nating Christians even online is mas pinaigting na po yung pakikipagkaisa at pagbabahagi o pag-share ng mga iba't ibang programa sa loob ng iglesia. And sa bahay po or sa specific workplace ko po, everyday po ako nag-a-arrange, everyday po ako naglilinis, pero yung tinatawag talaga na declutter, ginagawa ko siya every week.
Ginagamit ko lang ang mga bagay na mga kailangan kong gamitin. Like connecting to my families, sa work, and especially to my church duties. Hindi ko na ginagamit ang mga social media platform na hindi naman kailangan. Yun ang kailangan i-declutter or i-detox.
We could unfollow people that we think is already becoming toxic for us. And by doing this, we are taking away their platform by affecting us po. Parang naglilinis lang po ng closet. We are in control.
Hello po mga ka-UJ! Hello!
Hello!
Good evening, everybody. Yan, medyo maingay ko. Hello, Kuya Randall and Kuya Kyle. Magkakasama na naman tayo. And syempre, hello po sa ating mga viewers on INC TV and on INC Production Company's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Good evening po!
We're back for another episode on another Saturday evening to talk about my mess. And Bea's mess, and Brother Randall's mess, and how we're trying to clean up that mess, right, Brother Randall?
Yes, that's correct. And other than the mess, of course, and how to organize things after you toast out a lot of those unwanted things. And so it's another Saturday evening. And what better more to spend our Saturday evenings but to spend it here with us at UJ Radio. And so once again, hello to all our viewers from different time zones all across the globe. Thank you, Paul, for always staying tuned with us every Saturday.
Yes, all right. At bago po sige, go, kuya.
It's difficult, no, when we're all like hundreds of miles apart. Not hundreds of miles. 100 kilometers apart. It's like, who goes first? Okay, Bea, go.
No, kasi kanina I was talking about yun nga, decluttering, and I was this box na this is like memories for me. I'm kind of curious, kuya, do you have stuff like that po na parang you store just because they remind you of something?
When you mentioned your box and you showed your box, two things I thought of first. My college IDs from UP. I think it was my first year. I cracked it for some reason, so I got another one, a nice fresh one. I still have both copies. Yung sira, it's yellow na, and like obviously you can't use it anymore. But I still have my old college IDs, and I don't know about you guys, pero I still have my ribbons from some pasalamats and some holy suppers. I know you do. I know you do, right? Like, what do I do?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to throw them. How about si Kuya Randall po? You have a family. Do you deal with things like that? Just memories po?
Not just simply memories, but things that has, alam mo yung tinatawag nila na napamahal na sa'yo. And once and for all, just like with Brother Kyle and Sister Bea, I also do have IDs, but my previous licenses, like the first one I had when I passed the board exam, because we tend to renew it every year and every 2 years for our biannual. But the first ones I've got, I still have those in my closet and my medical certificates and whatnot. And the mere fact that we've discussed about what you tend to toast out or how you keep things and decide which ones do you keep.
Yes.
So how do you decide, Brother Kyle, which ones do you keep and which ones do you throw out?
I have a question though for Brother Randall, because he's a family man and how old is your son, po?
Oh, he just turned 8 months, couple of days
ago. Do you still have like his the belly button thing? Is that a Filipino thing? Because my mom still has one.
Yes. Kahit po and then yung pong parang yung tag na
yung sa hospital.
Baby girl or baby boy, tas yung apelido mo. So did you keep that po, Kuya Randall?
In fact, we did. And my wife is really good at it. Perhaps puro nagsabi sa kanya, like what Brother Kyle told us earlier, it's been like a Filipino thing. And not only that, pati yung the first time na pinutol mo yung buhok ng bata, the first fingernails, it's nothing to do with about beliefs and whatnot, but it's just a thing that you want to remember. Now, and then you put beside the notebook where you insert all these things, the date when you did it, and because now we do have the technologies to capture it. Bini-video pa namin, in fact, before we get to keep it. And it's placed in a special drawer in our closet. Yeah.
Oh, so sentimental po ang mga hosts ng UJ Radio. Pero kayo po kaya na mga manonood mo namin, pwede nyo rin po i-share sa ating mga comment sections kung ano po, and start the conversation po sa ating mga kasama po dyan ng Team Facebook and Team YouTube. Pero dahil I'm sure na hindi naman po kami syempre maraming mess. Kasi nga sabi kayo na how do we clean the mess? So I'm curious, Kuya Kyle, how do you clean your mess? Like, paano pong ginagawa niyo? Do you have like an occasional thing? May schedule po ba when you will clean?
I do have to admit, we've all been stuck at home for a little over a year. I'm not the cleaning type. Before the pandemic happened, I would have an ate or a cleaning lady come in maybe once or twice, once a month or once every 2 months, just to help clean out the parts I didn't learn how to clean as a kid growing up. All I had to do was mow the lawn, rake the leaves, fix my bed, fix the closet, but all the grind from the CR and yung mga sink, hindi ako marunong po maglinis na that area. So can you imagine, like, after a year of staying at home pa, So like we recently had a cleaning lady come by maybe 2 weeks ago, and she took about 5 hours. It's just a long time, right? But she also cleaned the balcony bin. So I don't clean. Just to end, long story short, I don't clean. I ask ate to help me clean.
Maybe you clean naman, kuya, but meron naman tumutulong. Just someone to assist you, baby. Just to make it nice.
Yung corners ng CR, how do you clean that? Like, what?
Hindi din po ako super, magagalit yung mama ko, sabihin niya, hindi naman, pero marunong naman po ako, mami, wag po kayo magalit. Pero yung sa CR, kuya, sometimes I use a smaller brush. Yung lumang toothbrush, that's what you use to clean the corners.
And the proper solution to do that.
Yun nga po eh.
Anyhow, going back to decluttering, diba? I think it's easier when you own the entire closet. One of the considerations that you have to make, Kyle and Bea, is that if you share a closet with someone else, like if you're married or you're living in a room na nandun din yung kapatid mo, of course, you just can't simply decide which ones to throw out or which ones to keep, tama ba? But I think for the most part of it po, those things that you don't necessarily need already, like yung pinagsikipan mo na, the damit, ayan. And those things that when you actually look at, parang, tagal na neto dito ah. Pero somehow, there are some people, Kyle and Bea, na it's not really with sentimental value, pero they just have hard time of letting go of things. I know specifically some people who does that. Yeah. And the other aspect as well, I want to share with you, Bea, our viewers, and Kyle. There's just something about bags and women. I don't know if this is true in your household, but like in my case, I go inside my mom's room, and then when you get inside her walk-in closet, you open the doors, and you tend to see a lot of bags. Most of these bags, Kyle, might be, they weren't even used yet. Nandun pa siya sa, I don't know what you call the special container where you put your signature bags. Nakalagay pa ron with all the tags where she bought it. But then you can't just simply toss them out. You have to ask. Another ones are the drawers containing receipts that you have to look back. So siguro the receipts, you don't have to throw it for the past 6 months. Some of it, you might have to get back with it. Lalo na lumabas yung bill ng credit card mo. Did I actually purchase this item? You go back, you open your drawers, titignan mo, oh yeah, now I remember. But then you have to be careful because there are all things that you buy that you don't want others to know that you bought them. So kaya nilalagay mo rin siya. You just don't simply put things in your closet, you segregate them, and then when time comes, like myself, I do it once in a blue moon. But then eventually magiging more often.
Yeah.
So right now we have so much days off, pwede ko na siyang puntahan and organize things. I basically call decluttering more of, I use the term organizing it.
Organizing, exactly.
I don't know if you, Kyle and Bea, agree, pero in my case, it's part of organizing.
Yeah, actually, over the course of the past months, kuya, and for sure po pati yung mga viewers natin, kasi di ba parang somehow naging trend din yan na di ba ang dami nga bumibili ng mga pang-organize sa bahay, mga boxes, tapos ang daming namimigay ng gamit, ang daming nag-online selling ng mga gamit nila. Ito mga nakaraang buwan, parang naging business na rin po nila yun to give off or to sell their stuff. Kasi nga, ang dami pong naglinis, ang dami nga mga naging tita or tito kung tawagin kasi naging ayos sila lahat ng bahay. Kasi, we had to take care of the house kasi dun tayo lahat nagstay for ito pong mga nakaraang buwan. So, I think the same for me, hindi man po super, pero I had a lot of clothes. Like, overflowing po yung mga damit ko kasi po a lot of them I use ko para sa mga aktibidad po natin sa church or here po sa hosting po natin on in our programs. Ang dami ko palang damit na hindi ko na po nagagamit, hindi ko na mamalayan. Tapos, ito pong nakaraan na we had to switch rooms po. And then, naghiwalay din kami ng closet ng kapatid ko po. Talagang kinailangan po namin magbawas ng sobrang daming damit. So, ang dami rin po namin na ipamigay ng mga damit. Same with shoes and accessories and jewelry. Tinitingnan ko po yung kwarto ko, baka po may naiwan pa, na ipinamigay po namin. So, a lot of those things, parang, ano yung sinabi ni Kuya Kaya last week, di ba there's this thing na, if it sparks joy, di ba, alam niyo naman po yan, if it sparks joy, keep it. If it doesn't, then you could put it in a pile and then you could give it away or do whatever you want with it. So,
it's actually it's a 6-step process. Now, in terms of when Brother Randall was asking me, how like specifically how is there a step-by-step process that we might be able to follow that might work for us to declutter? And the first one is, with anything else in life, you have to commit yourself to tidying up. You can't be like, okay, I'll go to the gym, and then the next day you're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You really have to have like that commitment to really be minimal, if you want to be minimal, but at least to clean up. And then after your commitment to tidying up, they say that the second step will be to imagine your ideal lifestyle. Like a lot of us, I'm sure, first thing I do when I wake up, I clean the bed. I fix the bed because I don't like seeing a cluttered bed, right? So ideally, I'd like to come home to my shoes in the nice part of the entryway. The sofa is nice and all the pillows are propped up. When I walk into my bedroom to change, my blankets and pillows are also nicely fixed. So that's my ideal, like when I come home from work, if ever we go back to that new normal. Ideally, that's what I would like to see. So of course, imagine your ideal lifestyle. And then the third one is to discard. Like before getting rid of items, sincerely, this is what they say. This is called the Marie Kondo system. You thank each item for serving its purpose. I don't do that. I do not thank my shoes. Thank you for helping me walk from my place of
I don't
work.
think we don't have to do that anymore.
But I think the important part of this next step is to tidy by category and not by location. So the important categories in your life. This is in real life stuff, not necessarily your digital.
Material things,
Yeah, your material things, your shoes. I guess that's one category, our clothes. Maybe another category will be kitchenware. What's another category that that you might have a lot of things of in your life?
I think one of those is that things that you often use compared to things that you seldomly use. Parang you just want to get rid of those things na bihira mo lang nagamit or put them somewhere na medyo mas malalim na lugar doon sa closet mo, and then make those things that you frequently use more available for you and reachable.
Right. Like I know our technical director, one of our producers, said he has a lot of cables, and I'm sure a lot of us, not just no matter if you're a professional or not, you probably have a lot of USB-C cables, a lot of micro USB cables, a lot of HDMI cables. I'm sure you have a lot of like yung mga earphones. Right?
Yes.
So do you need them? Right? So that's one category. And then the last step of this Marie Kondo system is, and I think it's actually pretty helpful. Does this thing make you happy? Is this thing actually helpful in your life? Do I need that? Do I need my baby's belly button? Does that make me happy? Yes, it does. Yes, it does make me happy. So I'm going to keep it. Do I need this extra pair of socks that I've not worn for the past 6 months or past year? No, I can just donate that to a more needy place.
Exactly.
So speaking of donating it, so what can you possibly do to the things you just want to throw away? Or can you make something useful out of it or convert it to something that you can earn from? Actually, the answer is yes. Because I've seen a lot of people do garage sale in big subdivisions. And it's not only a win-win situation on those people who are trying to give it away or sell it out. It's also a win-win situation to those who are trying to buy it kasi useful po sa kanila. And then at the same time, you're getting something out of it instead of just merely throwing it out.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk about how we feel, maybe, after we declutter. Of course, there's a purpose to all of this, besides everything being in its place, besides things being cleaner. How does that make us feel? But first, let's get into more feels with our INC MV. This one is called Braver and is coming from Western Europe's entry to INC MV Awards 2021. Let's watch.
Ce n'est que la première manche, essayant de prendre mon souffle, découvrant de partout ma tête, je la suis déjà venu ici, donc a-t-il pour m'effrayer? Sachant que ce combat viendrait, je me suis entraîné des années. Pour qu'au moment venu, je sois prêt pour le grand conflit, affrontant mes opposants dans ce ring que l'on nomme la vie. Des anormalités sont devenues normalité, prêt à faire face à ce monde d'instabilité.
Maintenant je suis plus brave.
Je n'ai pas peur, je resterai demain.
Maintenant je suis plus brave.
Je me tiens trop, regardant vers toi.
Maintenant je suis plus brave. Ma foi inébranlable.
Je peux toujours pour ton aide.
Je te trouve à chaque fois. Maintenant tu me rends plus brave.
Face à toutes ces peines, maladies et calamités, cherchant un remède, tentant d'arrêter ces fatalités. Les gens disent des aberrations, déclarations hâtives, faisant passer leurs mensonges pour des faits alternatifs.
Même quand j'ai peur, je peux laisser tomber. Remettant à lui, on peut rien contrôler.
Donc si je suis mis à
Je
terre,
me relève, je me tiens droit.
je le respecte car il m'a rendu
Je suis
brave.
plus brave.
Je n'ai pas peur, je resterai demain.
Maintenant je suis plus brave.
Je me tiens trop, regardant vers toi.
Maintenant je suis plus brave. Ma foi inébranlable.
Je peux toujours pour ton aide.
Je te trouve à chaque fois. Maintenant tu me rends plus brave.
C'est quoi encore ici? T'as toujours pas compris? J'ai juste reprendre en bas dans ce truc. T'es courageux toi, hein? C'est quoi, regarde d'avant, je vais pas l'embrouiller. Vas-y, bats-toi. Sors le sac.
L'ennemi approche, sur la pointe des pieds, a toujours vouloir plus notre Dieu, l'homme l'a oublié. Dans tous ces problèmes, ces maladies, ces calamités, on cherche des solutions, mais tout ce qu'on trouve n'est qu'à stabilité. Mais il ne faut pas abandonner, il ne faut pas perdre espoir. Je surmonterai tous ces obstacles jusqu'à ce que j'atteigne la gloire. Là-haut, dans les cieux, je sais que tout sera parfait, mais d'ici là, je dois tenir, être encore plus brave que jamais. Car notre Père ne me laissera pas tomber, me sauvera de tous les dangers. Par lui, ma voix est toute tracée, ce qui me reste à faire, ne jamais douter. Mais subir et subir comme si je n'allais jamais en finir. Avec les attaques de l'adversaire, promis, je ne me laisserai plus faire. Même si par moments j'ai l'impression que Dieu n'est pas là pour moi, je n'arrêterai pas de prier, car parfaite est ma foi. Les tentations peuvent arriver et s'enchaîner durant ma vie. Je poserai peut-être le genou, mais je me relèverai grâce à lui.
Je n'ai pas peur, je resterai demain. Je suis plus brave.
Je me tiens trop, regardant vers toi.
Maintenant je suis plus brave. Ma foi inébranlable.
Je peux dire pour ton aide.
Je te trouve à chaque fois. Maintenant tu me rends plus brave.
Yeah, and we're back.
All right, we're back.
And for now, kuyas, let's read some shoutouts. Shoutouts talaga. Some comments and greetings po mula sa ating mga viewers po from Facebook and YouTube. Kuya Randall, you can go ahead po.
Okay, let me begin po with Kavea Angelica. We love and support INC Production Company. A warm greetings po from the District of Davao del Sur, lokal ng Bangkal. Ayan. Hello po sa inyo. Maayong gabi sa mga taga Davao. Ayan. Hello po, greetings mula po sa lokal ng Deparo, distrito po ng Caloocan North. And that greetings came from Ian Pastor. And another one from my end, from Brother Renato and Sister Marilu. Greetings po from the local ng San Vicente West, distrito ng Ordaneta City, Pangasinan. Hello po sa mga anak namin na nasa Taiwan, Sisters Marilyn and Queen, at sa mga manugang namin, sina Brother Renz. Hello po sa inyong lahat dyan, and thank you as well for watching UG Radio.
Yeah.
And Bea?
Alright. So, kanina po may mga nag-uusap na rin po sa ating mga comment sections. Sabi po ni Ka Sherlyn, relate po ako sa topic, yung mama ko po, di niya ma-let go yung mga Tupperware talaga. Nagagalit pag may nawala pong isa. Parang madami din akong kilalang ganito. Asan yung Tupperware na ganito yung takip? Hindi ko po
Or may missing takip.
Missing takip. Mismatch yung takip, nagagalit yung mga nanay. Sabi ni Camira, same here po Kuya Kai, lalo po pag na-busy na po, medyo madalang na po maglinis. Pero kung may time po, nakakapaglinis pa naman po. Kenneth, Sister Sherlyn, nakaka-relate po ako sa'yo. Ganyan din po ang nanay ko bilang po yata lahat ng Tupperware. Bakit usapang Tupperware po ito? Mamaya usapang pagkain na rin po ito. Wag po Sabi rin po na Ate Bernadette, ni Kuya Ian, yun nga, ang dami nag-declutter. Noon pong panahon ng pandemic, napapagalitan na nga raw po sila pag hindi sila naglilinis. Pero I think one thing na na-pick up po kayo na sana po yung mga habits na na-build or yung mga decluttering or organizing skills unlock na nagawa natin ng pandemic, makip natin kapag medyo mas nag-normalize pa ang buhay natin sa paligid. So, Kuya, we can go back to the topic discussion na po. Kasi kanina, we were talking about material things. Bakit po natin material things? I remember Kuya Kyle last week said about decluttering his social media account, yung friends list niya or whatever. So, could we maybe talk about that?
Right,
it's kind
so
of a different
from decluttering IRL in real life to digital decluttering.
Yes.
Decluttering our email inbox.
Yeah.
How many? Wait. How many unread emails do you guys have in your inbox today? I find that annoying if it's like, especially if it's in the thousands.
Yes, it's annoying. It's annoying if I have unread notifications, unopened messages, unopened emails. Nababother din po ako. Kaya po, hindi ko po alam minsan kung paano ko po nag-get through yun na binabasa ko or yung iba po dinidelete ko na lang. I just sort them if they're like...
I feel like when it comes to like the email inbox thing, don't do what I did. I went through every single time. I feel like if it's July 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, regardless of the date, if it's July 27, for example, and you don't need any of those past emails anymore, or you just reply to the ones that are like super and seriously like, important, just mark everything as read and archive the rest. Right, just start over. It's just email. Yeah. It's not a big thing. Just start over. Just if it's a email from your mom and your boss that was sent to you 3 days ago, reply to it. Tapos na. Anything else from all your Shopee or your other applications, from other apps on your phone, just go ahead and mark them as read and then archive them and just start over.
Yeah.
And speaking of email, go ahead, Kyle.
Also for social media, again, if you have like the limit for Facebook is about 5,000 friends. I took mine down to maybe around 300, and like we discussed earlier in our program, I asked like, does this person spark joy in my life? Does this person make me happy, or do they just make me more stressed out? And it's unbelievable when you take out so many digital friends on your timeline and in your feed. It's just less noisy. Right? Yes. Can you imagine trying to sleep and there's so much traffic outside your door? It's kind of the same thing online. It's like you remove all that noise, it's just more peaceful.
Exactly. I think
it just takes time, I guess, no?
Opo. Tsaka parang, ito kasi it's a different kind of decluttering. You'd have to like sit down, settle down somewhere, and you'd have to look at your phone or your computer for so long. Na parang, yun nga po, you'd have to babawas ka ng mga, sorting out people online. And I even sort out pictures and videos and stuff like that. Kasi po medyo particular po ako sa pag-aayos ng files on my phone. Nababother po ako pagka hindi sila magkakasama sa isang date or something. Kailangan alphabetical or minsan may color scheme or whatever. So, parang ang ginagawa ko na lang po every time na parang okay, 1 week na yung lumipas, magbubura na ako ng pictures or magsusort na rin ako ng mga finalo ko on this social media platform. Binabawasan ko na po siya every week para hindi maingay, katulad nga na sinabi ni Kuya Kyle kanina. So, yeah. Yun po.
And on my end naman, Bea, let me begin with the email. So, na-mention kanina ni Kyle, that for the emails, he basically just deletes it if it's not really necessary anymore. It's been like a month. I actually found out just recently, this is how I'm not so techy po. But there's a box. It says past month or past week. So I normally do it by the week instead of just clicking it one at a time, like atong email ni John, ni Paul, or whoever. I click one box that says email for the past week. And that automatically deletes all the emails for the past week. And
nice.
heading towards my Facebook account, I really don't have to worry too much. Believe it or not, I have less than 30 friends and associates.
Wow.
So even nicer.
Wow.
Look at my wall and the feeds that I get to read almost every day. It's basically the same people again and
Yes.
again.
Peaceful.
Yung
Peaceful
kailangan
though,
lang.
right?
Yung kailangan lang.
And I guess you guys who are friends with me on Facebook could basically attest to it. Na siguro and people are active among the 25, I guess mga 12 lang. So whenever I want to read, siguro in less than a minute. But there's one thing I want to implicate po really seriously. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, pero ako, I think it's more stressful when you try to declutter the digital things compared dun sa pag-declutter ng mga material things on our closet.
I agree. It's easier to do the physical stuff, the in real life stuff, than the digital stuff.
Totoo po yun.
Especially
Totoo.
when it comes to videos and pictures. I don't know if you guys you feel the same way because there are pictures that are taken on the same day, the same occasion, almost the same angle, pero you'd even have to spend time to think, alin ba rito mas maganda? Medyo nakatagilid ako, medyo nakataas yung kamay ko. Diba? Pero if you think of it, it's the same occasion. Birthday ng mom mo. Oh, I think this is a better angle. Then it would come to a point that you'd have to ask somebody, parang, saan kaya dito mas maganda? Diba? So decluttering your album. Decluttering your album and your pictures and your galleries, even more time consuming for me. And having said that, please, to our viewers, we'd like you to engage yourself. Tell us what you feel about decluttering. And later on, Bea and I will read all your comments.
Yes, while we're waiting for their comments, though, we're going to need your eyes and especially your ears because we do have this week's mystery sound. Our Randall and Bea and I actually finally going to get this one with the help, of course, of our friends and family watching on YouTube and Facebook. Why don't we find out? Let's hear this week's Soundcheck mystery sound.
Ano ba yun? Ito ba yan?
Hangin. Blower.
Sounds like rain to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like rain to me. Akala ko po, umulan ba or something?
Brother Randall, does that sound like a far away, like airplane jet? No.
Ask Kuya Randall.
Sounds like though, but towards the middle part, it sounds like a streaming, running water.
Water or something. Pwede pong one last time before we proceed po. Kuya Kevin, please. And Papa Police. Ba't feeling ko washing machine? Ba't ganun? Kuyas, what do you think po? Are you sticking with your answers?
Blower, fan.
Wala akong, lahat kami parang,
Medyo malayo.
Okay, so anyway, while the three of us are trying to figure out what this could be, we are once again inviting our viewers to please, alam natin, Bea and Kyle, our viewers are really so smart. So please plug in all your guesses, hashtag Soundcheck.
Yep.
And you may also include your greetings with your guesses.
Yes, and we'll read all of those.
Into decluttering our digital, but now let's do both. Like if we have one area in real life and then the other area digital, and we put them together like a Venn diagram. Obviously, we're doing this for a reason. We're talking about this for a reason because our lives are messier because of the pandemic, and we've all been living at home with, if not with other people, in the same space for over a year. At the same time, we've all been working more from home digitally online, so we have even more of a mess. And when we do clear out that mess, like how does that make you feel? So for our viewers and friends and family watching on YouTube and Facebook, some of us have done it, some of us have not done it, but how do you expect to feel? Every night before I go to bed, for example, I like to walis the floor. For two reasons, because it helps me to think about my day, but also at the same time, it has the other beneficial, obvious reason of just cleaning my space. And it just makes me feel lighter?
less kalat.
Right, less kalat. You know how they say happy wife, happy life? In our case, we can say maybe less mess, less stress.
Exactly. Oh, totoo yan. Sabi nga po nila, di ba, yung ideal na bahay, kapag bahay kasi it's just the structure. But for you to make it a home or tahanan, di ba, it's a different thing. Parte po ng pagiging tahanan yan, maayos at maaliwalas po yung bahay para matawag mo talagang tahanan, yung tipong mauuwian mo at yung pag-uwi mo, talagang you feel restful, peaceful. I think that's the kind of home that we're all aiming at. So, I think that's the purpose of, that is the purpose of decluttering. So, you start with the small stuff, di ba? So that you could proceed with the bigger stuff. And then, later on with different aspects of your life. I think that's what it is with organizing and decluttering. To answer Kuya Kal's question, of course, you feel happy. I read this somewhere na cleaning something makes you feel, it gives off the same feeling of accomplished or of you achieving something. Parang it gives you that sense of fulfillment na you have done something today. Parang productivity. So, is that the same with you, Kuya Randall po? How about kayo po ni wife?
Actually, Bea has already said it very well. There's this feeling of contentment and merely looking at a well-arranged, a well-set-up closet, not just even closet, yung living room, maayos, and well-organized, yung mga things in proper places. Let's just put it that way. Things in proper places. It makes the place more cozy, relaxing. And then if you come back from work stressed out or burned out, it helps you recover quicker when things are really well organized. And I think that's equally what our viewers feel as well. And that becomes the purpose by which you wanted to organize and declutter things. But then once again, it all depends. Like in my case naman, there are days, no matter how much I really want to start up decluttering my stuff, it's just so difficult to start. You'd have to have a threshold para masimulan siya. But then here's another problem. Pag nasimulan ko naman, it's difficult for me to stop decluttering things.
Yes.
My wife tells me, kanina ka pa dyan, you're not even diba, parang mahirap
hard to start, hard to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Have you tried that, Brother Ka? I mean, not just decluttering.
I haven't gotten the hard to start part yet.
but the opposite is there are people who are... Okay, go ahead.
No, I understand what you mean. It's hard to start, hard to stop.
Yes.
Exactly. Then there's also this part, and sometimes you feel like you're a go-getter, and by that I mean that when you want to jump into things, you just want to jump in all at once. Ayaw mo half-hearted na natapos. Halimbawa, hindi mo tatapusin not until you get to the least part of it. Kaya that's what's gonna take it too long. Towards the end, pwede ka pang magsisi because, I've already thrown this one. And when the day comes na kailangan mo pala, then that's the time you think back, I should have started decluttering sana next week. I should have had this item pa sana that I'll be using today. So that's where the confusion comes as well. Kaya siguro a lot of people are hesitant to even begin decluttering because somehow they know or they probably think of the day na baka kailangan nila.
Yeah.
I want to sidetrack a little bit, specifically focus on Brother Randall because he is the pilot, and I've never been inside the cockpit of an airplane. That's like one life bucket list, like to be able to go inside the cockpit of an airplane. And I know, I'm like, thanks, I know who to go to now. But like when we see those pictures outside looking in, because Brother Randall is inside the cockpit, and there's all those buttons on the. It's not a dashboard. What do you call it in airplane speak?
Oh, we have all the fuses on top of us, and like in front of us, there are all the automation buttons that we use. We have the CPUs, and then we have the FMS, flight management systems. All these buttons actually are for the redundancy of the system. And they're
all organized in a specific way. I'm trying to find an analogy between your place of work and your actual life, because you cannot have clutter on an airplane, not at thousands and thousands and thousands of feet into the sky.
That's true. And the mere fact that a lot of our airplanes right now are designed and built in such a way that there will be minimal human intervention. And by saying so, it means to say that almost everything on it that you can see are for automation purposes. That
so I can fly an airplane.
The human airplane.
I would not trust me behind the wheel of an airplane. Okay, I was just always because when we're talking about decluttering, I'm looking at Brother Randall's face. I'm also seeing him like in front of that console with all of the buttons and the blinking lights. It's like I can't imagine the amount of stress and pressure I would feel even more if everything was out of their place.
Yes, exactly. True. Exactly.
So that's I guess that's a huge part of the way that things help us make when things are in their place.
Yes.
More of our brain cells are in the right place.
Sabi nga po nila, di ba, when you declutter, like I said earlier, di ba, yung it gives you that sense of fulfillment. Pero di ba sabi po nila, when you do something, you physically clean the house, it helps you also clear up your mind. It makes it easier for you na mas makapag-isip and organize what you have to do for the next day or maybe your plans for the next month or whatever. Kasi wala ka nakikitang kalat sa paligid. So, di ba, on the bigger picture of that is, di ba sabi nga po nila, yung taong mas organized sa bahay, you see the personality of the person talaga na, yun din yung takbo ng buhay niya. No, na he has a clear goal or he has this set of ambitions or alam niya kung ano yung obligations na pupunan niya or kailangan niyang gawin because he's an organized or he or she is an organized person. So what can you say about that? I think we're almost at the end. Kuya Randall.
How do you become an organized person?
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to go back to Brother Randall because he's been training as a pilot for years. So if something goes wrong, God forbid something goes wrong, he already knows what to do because he's been like trained for it over and over and over again. So in a sense, what I'm trying to focus on here is naging habit siya. Like he knows agad na when this red light goes off, he has to do step 1, step 2, step 3. Exactly. And I think for us, for people at home, for our friends and family watching on YouTube and Facebook, as hard as it is, as Brother Randall mentioned, that it's hard to start. Maybe like I said, it's become a habit for me to, well, at least in the evening before I go to bed. So I think we have to find a way to make it a habit, like brushing our teeth every morning.
Exactly, Kuya. Exactly. Kuya Randall, go po.
And one more thing I also want to add, Kyle and Bea, being organized has a big effect as with time. Let's just say, for example, in most houses, I'm not trying to pertain to any house, they actually have a place where they put the keys, the remote controls, and this is for a certain reason. Like if you just simply place your keys anywhere, any part of the house, it's time for you to head out, hinahanap mo pa yung susi mo eh. And that could be a factor for you getting late, going to attend the worship service, kasi naghahanap pa asan yung susi? We have to go, we have to leave, diba? And another thing is even to turn on the TV. So you're catching up, I want to watch UJ Radio now or whatever it is. And nobody can even find
the remote
for the TV. And again, it goes back because we all started to be not organized. Should things have been more organized, I think it would have a big implication on how you manage your time and everything.
I totally agree because as someone who wears glasses, I lose my glasses all the time. And it's always in the most obvious place that I should have known it was there, but it wasn't. But anyway, from one professional, from a pilot to Brother Randall, to another professional, friends and family from YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else, let's hear it from another professional, a clinical psychologist, Darwin Bison from Notting Hill, District of United Kingdom, digging deeper into the benefits of decluttering and organizing, of course, for our mental health and our overall well-being. Let's hear it from him.
The definition that we tend to use to describe clutter is literally being untidy or not in order. Untidiness is usually associated with a lack of order or even chaos. And when things are chaotic and when things don't have a particular order where we can predict things, where we can find things, our minds can feel chaotic, we then don't feel organized. And I think one of the things that it really affects is your ability to produce things or your ability to do tasks efficiently. So when things aren't in order or when things are cluttered, you tend to be more stressed in doing the things that you need to be doing. Whereas when things are planned out, when things are in order, when things have a certain flow, that's associated with calmness, a state of mind that you can keep track of what you need to be doing and be efficient in how you do it. I mean, it's tricky because a lot of the time we are asked to do a lot of things. At the same time, we're always very busy. And the temptation really is to just keep doing what we need to be doing without really looking after our environment. But what that tends to result in is if we don't look after our environment, if we don't look after the order in which things are done, we become less and less efficient. And when that happens, we then start to become more and more stressed. What happens from there is that we set up a vicious cycle, and then at the same time trying to do the same amount of work. And over time, that becomes more and more stressful to do until it becomes unsustainable. So when stress builds, as we know, our mental well-being tends to suffer, including having difficulty sleeping, becoming more irritable, and it has a knock-on effect with a whole host of other things. So we do know that on the extreme end of cluttering or clutter collection, what we call hoarding disorder, it's almost to the point where you can't even walk or stand in there. So it's built up to the point where it's dangerous, it's impossible to live in. By that time, the person who lives in that clutter has lost control. And if they're used to that, trying to remove the clutter feels very, very dangerous for them. It feels unsafe. So they actually feel safer in and amongst that clutter. So if you try to get people to reverse that, it's very emotionally painful. It's very anxiety provoking for them to start to clear the clutter because it's gotten to such an extreme point. When you're in that state, already in that state of mind where the clutter is built up and it's easier to leave it as it is, you can imagine that becomes really, really difficult to undo unless you have some help from outside. So I think the key thing is that your environment tends to reflect your state of mind. So if you are in a disorganized environment, it likely reflects that your mind is also in a disorganized state. So one of the first things that you can do is to start to bring order, or doing simple things like putting together a list of things that you need to do. Alongside that, keeping a tidy space where you can work, that requires consistency and discipline. So the key thing there is about preventing clutter from building up in the first place. It's better to deal with small things whilst they're still manageable. So you start small and you experience what we call quick wins. So if there's a corner there that you can easily start to declutter and you feel good about it, you start to feel rewarded. Actually, this feels really good. I feel like I'm in control. That then builds up momentum. You start to feel confident, I can do that. Then you start tackling another bit. The key thing is that you've got to start feeling rewarded for your efforts. Because if you don't feel rewarded for your efforts, you're just going to leave it more than likely. Probably the most unhelpful thing to do is try to do it all in one go. Because you're basically setting yourself up to fail. And then if you try to declutter your whole house in one day and you feel overwhelmed, the likely outcome is that you're never going to do that again. You're just going to leave it again, and that keeps the problem going. The secret to managing your mental well-being is to keep stress levels at a manageable level. Once it tips over the edge, because you're disorganized both in your mind and in your physical environment, that's when things start to, that's when our mental well-being starts to drop and deteriorate. So I guess the key message here to kind of shorten that down a bit is start small, go for the quick wins, keep things in order as you go along. And when you're in a clean and a well-maintained environment, it's much easier for you to keep your thought process also in order as well. Well, it keeps things predictable. It keeps things calm. And when you're calm, and when you're feeling confident and your mood is positive, you're more likely to be able to tackle whatever you're required to do successfully in a calm way and not getting stressed out. So some people will let a little bit of clutter go, and then they'll say, actually, you know what, I'll just tidy that up later. But before you know it, that builds. That can really build. What if, for example, there's an emergency in your family, or something else has taken your attention, and you can't, keep your house in order. So the key thing there is to keep on top of it, to protect you in the future from any stresses that might come. So to always be prepared for whatever stress or unpredictable things that life throws at you. When you are organized and decluttered, you are more prepared to deal with those things. Now, if you're able to focus your mind and deal with those stresses, what it does is it frees you up to do what's important in life. In other words, your mind and your body is fully available to perform your duties. And if we can maintain our mental well-being, it performs its function in a better and more efficient way. It's the same thing with us. If we look after our minds and our bodies, we are much more able to perform our duties, which are the most important and meaningful things in our life. So it's worth putting that effort in to give ourselves those tune-ups to keep our minds and bodies in order and uncluttered.
Is it waterfalls? Is it a blender? Is it burping? We do not know. Let's go ahead and get to some of our guesses from our friends and family watching on YouTube and Facebook about this week's mystery sound.
All right.
So this one is coming from, let's see. This one is coming from Chris, burping.
How many burps?
Much louder. I wish I could burp that way, the way that we just heard it, Kanina. That'd be a much better, easier way for me to burp. Sabi ni Bernadette Talavera, it's a blender. Okay. How about you guys?
And
here
comes Mia telling us it's waterfalls, but that's with a question mark, though. Waterfalls?
Waterfalls? Maybe?
Yeah, and there goes another burping. Oh, this one is interesting. Kumukulo po. I just wonder kumukulong what, but it says kumukulo po. Yeah.
May nagsabi rin po dito na holding your cell phone out of a car window and recording a video. Talagang nilabas niya pa yung cellphone niya para lang, at yun yung ipinasa niyo po sa amin talaga, ha? Medyo pinapahirapan niyo po kaming manghula. Pero hindi po nagsabi na humidifier po or bumabagyo daw po. I don't know.
This one I like. Airplane.
Yeah, we don't know. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and finally find out. I'm hoping that Bea and Randall and I are, one of us is at least correct. Let's find out what it is.
I'm Sister Kim from local congregation of Salana. Shout out nga pala sa mga friends kong sina Shana, Riel at Dea at kay Sherilyn Tamayo mula sa lokal ng Kamalayugan, distrito ng Cagayan East. Send na rin po kayo ng mystery sound video nyo for our next UJ Radio #Soundcheck. Padala lang po via DM sa INC Production company page, and don't forget to put #Soundcheck.
Next week, we'll get it, right? But to all of our friends and family watching with us and joining us today in the conversation, thank you for your participation, and hopefully a lot of us get it correct next week. But I do have one of those. That's the last thing. It's always the last.
Kuya, kahit ano pa sabihin mo, we didn't get it right. Meron din kami, and I didn't even thought that Pero yung sumagot ng kumukulo, sige po, i-consider na po namin. Kayo po ang winner nito pong soundcheck namin for this week. But anyways, thank you po, Sister Kimberly, for sending that soundcheck mystery video in. And of course, kayo po na mga nanonood po, pwede rin po kayo mag-send ng inyo po mga soundcheck mystery sound. At pahulaan niyo po sa amin. Pwede po sobrang mahirap para po mahulaan natin dito. But all in good fun, and of course, include your videos and your shoutouts po, and your greetings and everything in there po sa mga videos po na yan. And with that, let's read a few responses po from our viewers. Kuya, meron po ba kayo dyan?
Yeah, it was suggested that I get white glasses.
Maybe you should.
Darker glasses are much more difficult to find.
He's right. Sabi po nila, may mga nagsabi po dito na agree po ako. Sabi ni Sister Rhea, agree po ako. Lalo na po pag may, nakaka-relax din po talaga. Lalo na po pag sinamahan niyo po ng music, ng relaxing music, yung paglilinis. Nakaka-relax nga daw po kapag maayos at malinis po ang paligid. I think we have another one po. Kuya Randall, do you have...
And from Jerry naman, he wrote, ako po, aaminin ko, makalat po ako sa mga natin. Pero not just you yourself po, Jerry. Marami din. Iba dyan. Pero minsan po, kahit makalat po paligid ko, alam ko kung saan nakalagay ang isang gamit. Actually, I can totally relate to that.
Yes.
You just don't really want to be
touched by other people.
Touched by any people, not even your mom, Bea, right?
Exactly.
Because the moment you wanted to find that thing, you definitely know. Kahit nakapikit si Bea, alam niya kung saan nakalagay niya. And the moment nawala yan, things are gonna be different.
Do you have like your own special area? Like in my household, in my parents' house in Pampanga, my dad has I call it a bed cave, but he has a room that's only his room. And it has his TV he has 2 lazy boy couches in there and everything. Do you have something like that where it's just your space? And if something is out of place, kahit maliit lang yung paperclip, it's angled incorrectly. Like, do you have something like that? No, it's just your space.
I'm more particular with my closet. Like, I want all the hangers facing in one direction. Now, like my hangers have color codings po. Like, I use a different color for my pants, my slacks, my polo, and barong. That way, it's easier for me to know kung kulang yung isang item.
Yeah.
So I don't want my hangers to be some facing on the other.
Magkabaliktad. Yeah, no, I don't like that too. Same with me po. Just basic rule sa akin, just don't touch my stuff. And if ever you're going to borrow something, just tell me just so I know na kapag may nawawala, nasa'yo pala yung dress ko, nasa'yo pala yung shoes ko. Parang alam na mga kasama ko dito sa bahay. Don't touch my stuff. Just tell me if you're gonna borrow something. That's the basic rule of me. Even with baso po na iniinuman ko, my glass is just mine. And they know that. My family knows that. But just so I just know where my things are. And the same with them po ako sa kanila. I don't touch their stuff as well. I ask for permission. And if I ever borrow something, I'll tell them. So, anyways, Kuya Randall, the floor is yours po.
Stand up for the last part of this before we say our conclusion for this episode. Ako naman, unlike Bea, pwede mo namang hiramin, pero there's one big pero there. You have to return it wherever you got it from. Ibalik mo lang kung saan mo kinuha. Exactly. The next time I might be needing it, Kyle and Bea, at least I know where to find it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I hope we had so much more time, Kyle and Bea, but just like any other programs, this program would soon come to an end. And having said that, we'd like to thank all our viewers for spending another hour with us this Saturday evening. And this is, again, about decluttering and organizing. And we've learned so much from Bea, Kyle, and our viewers. The feelings of getting things decluttered, reasons why we declutter things, how do we prioritize which one goes and which one stays.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have more topics similar to this or related to this in the coming weeks. Ayan.
Yes.
And because of that, it's time for our other segment, which is What the Bible Says.
Let all things be done decently and in order.
Thank you, of course, to all of our family, our friends, and our guests viewing with us online on Facebook and on YouTube and on your big rectangular screens at home on INC TV. Please do remember every Saturday, 8 p.m. is where you and I and Bea and Brother Randall will get together and talk about things life in real life, digital life. Next week is a special episode in celebration of the church's 107th anniversary, and we hope to see you there. Join us.
And of course, before we end this episode for tonight, once again, we'd like to say our special thanks po to our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, as well to our CFO Coordinator po, Brother Angelo Iranio Manalo. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Yes, and of course, continue to support and watch po all of our programs here. Of course, we have Fit to Serve every Sunday, 8 o'clock in the morning. We have Spotlight Season 6 po. That's Sunday, 7 p.m. with Sister Joycel. We have INCMB by request every weekday and Monday to Friday, 1 o'clock ng tanghali. Siyempre, 1 o'clock ng tanghali. And of course, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Friday nights, 7 p.m. with Kuya Ryan and Kuya Brian. Of course po, we have Gourmet at Home, Saturday, 12 noon. Ayan, para naman may bago kayo matutunan mga recipes. Of course, sa mga hindi pa po nakaka-download dyan, i-download nyo na po ang INC Playlist application sa mga cellphone po ninyo. Kung dalawang cellphone nyo, i-download nyo po pareho para naman po you have your favorite or INC original music anytime, anywhere. And of course, continue to support, like, share, subscribe. Ipag-anyaya nyo pa ang ating pong pages, INC Production Company's Facebook page and YouTube channel. We'll see you guys next week po. Salamat po sa pagsama sa amin dito sa UJ Radio. Bye!